So, we're talking this time about the Running in the 90s song and scales. This song is a little bit different from the scales I've been going through so far, which have largely been major scales, typically around C. This one seems to be more of like a A minor natural kind of thing. Although it doesn't use all of those same notes, you'll find that. See, here's the C just an arpeggio that goes like, you know, la, 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 you know, kind of did that a lot. But the A minor actually has, strangely enough, no sharps or flats, so the scale would sound like this. The arpeggio that we did earlier kind of sounded like this. So you could, to see the differences with it, try to sing along with this. I'll play it kind of slow. This is the C major, and then I'll play the A minor arpeggio afterward. So the C major is like. And then for the A minor, or we did it a little bit different. So that you got a little bit of a walking back down kind of thing. So, in the Running in the 90s song, it starts off seemingly on the chorus with the E note. So it's like E, E, D, C, B, C. So if you're playing on your piano or something like that, you can find those notes. So you might try to practice along a couple of ways with this. So like maybe going through and on each different line using a different vowel sound or something like that. So maybe like, you know, if you don't want to sing the lyrics, just like, you know, E, 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 and then on the other one, just kind of like O, 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 O. There's really that little step up and back that's kind of interesting. So I'll play this through those 4 different parts that there are, and then if you want to kind of try to sing along in those different ways, you can kind of replay them and try it with the different vowel sounds or something like that. So I'll do it kind of slow. That's the full chorus, basically. So just so that you still have a reference, you know, it's just running in the 90s. And I don't really know how this goes as well as you do, but is a new way you'd like to leave. I don't know. But then I'm just. So that's a really important part there, is the jump from the G to the E. I'm just running in the 90s. Come on, baby, run to me. And that's another thing that makes it a little different as well. We were talking about, you might expect that note to go somewhere else at the end, but they resolve at a higher note instead. I would have thought, in listening to it, you know, it just makes a unique melody what they do, but the standard way for that particular line to resolve would be like, come on, baby, run to me. And that's not what they do. They do something slightly different to make it more interesting. So yeah, I think that's kind of one thing. And then I'm going to send you home with these pieces of paper, and I don't know how much time with the keyboard you get, and how much of these notes you know, or whether they list the actual names of the notes on the keys or anything like that. But with some like the phone apps, like I was talking about before, they do, and so you can look at these scales, these different scales, and run through them using, let's see, I can pull up my little app here, using either an actual keyboard or a little app or something like that, and then you could practice doing the scales like that, just matching just matching the notes. So, for instance, on this A minor natural one, might sound something like. Try to move this keyboard around a little bit. Okay, it pretty much just goes up the octave almost. So like. And just practically like that, each of these scales, and see which ones feel more comfortable, which ones, maybe even make a little note of it, if you're like, oh, well, that one really is inside my key, and like flag it with a pen or something on one of these pieces of paper, and then we can look at trying to find other things that are within that scale or within that, particular key. And then if you want, there's also some arpeggios that you could do the same thing with the piano on. Like for instance this A minor arpeggio that they have listed here. Right, so you'd be like, la, oh, la, e. And as you go through them like that, you can notice where you're having trouble on certain notes, and then try to like, for me on that last one was really was kind of weak. And find out what you have to do to make it feel comfortable. If it's well within your range, you should be able to hit the note. But sometimes you're just not breathing enough, or maybe you're slouching or something. I don't mean you in particular, I mean like just a person, So try to figure out like, okay, well I was having trouble with that. First came out with like, sort of not quite on the note. But if I sort of stood up, paid a little bit more attention, it was like, I can hit it right, So same thing goes for you. If you're having trouble with a note, it might not be that it's out of your range. It might be that you just need to adjust a few things about your posture, or breathe a little bit more or something like that. So you can do that. And then also it's still good to think about harmony stuff. If you do have one of these apps, try to, maybe even with this song, just hit the other, go two steps over, or 2 half steps really. You can kind of harmonize with it or whatever. So either way, but I think it would be good now if there's a song that you like, trying to really hit those notes on it, so you can take these pieces of paper home and whatever works best, a piano, or just listening to it, or re-listening to the video at that part, and just singing along and trying to really get those notes to sound clear. And yeah, I think that's a good thing to do. I hope you get to feel better. Any questions or anything like that?